Our 7-year relationship culminated in an engagement. Then someone told me she was close with my brother. Too close. Of course, I didn't believe it. I'd raised my brother myself, and my fiancée only had eyes for me. But then, on the day her company went public, a reporter from the Business Channel decided to dig for some gossip. "We have it on good authority, Ms. Vance, that you're about to be married. Is that true?" My brother, Caleb, stood beside her, a smirk playing on his lips. Claire's eyes darted toward him. It was just a flicker, a split-second glance, but I saw the heat in it. Her lips curved into a blissful smile. "Yes," she said. And I, the man she was actually supposed to marry, watched the whole thing on the news, my face a mask of stone. "Claire, and you, my dear brother, don't you know? Those who betray my trust must atone for their sins in hell. Mr. Hayes, you've been working too hard lately. You need to rest. Ms. Vance's company has its IPO today. You can finally catch your breath." "The work can wait," my assistant advised. I waved him out of my office. My eyes were glued to the television, cold and unblinking. A sharp pang shot through my chest, a sickening feeling of loss that I couldn't name. A voice in my head started its insidious whisper. "Caleb is your brother. He stole your fiancée. Are you just going to let that happen? The girl you loved for 7 years. Are you going to be a doormat? You have to fight back. Hit them where it hurts. Julian Hayes, you've never been one to sit back and take it. Get up." I shook my head violently, pulling myself back from the edge. Only now could I think clearly. The Chicago Business Network was covering the IPO live. "Let's offer our congratulations to CEO Claire Vance on her company's successful public offering." At the press conference, Claire stood on a blood-red carpet, poised and radiant under the spotlights, nodding to the guests. The room erupted in thunderous applause. She walked confidently to the podium, flanked by her top executives. To take a company public in just 3 years is an incredible achievement, and she's brilliant. I wonder who the lucky man who gets to marry her will be. Caleb, one of her VPs, stood quietly behind her. Their eyes met for a moment, and they exchanged a faint, knowing smile before looking away. She seemed to be searching for someone in the crowd, her gaze sweeping over the audience. But before she could say anything, the reporters swarmed her. "Ms. Vance, your company is officially public. How are you feeling right now?" Claire wore a professional smile, polite, distant, yet unable to conceal the raw excitement beneath. "I'm thrilled and very excited," she said. Her smile captivated half the male reporters in the room, who all jockeyed to get their questions in. Suddenly, one reporter went for the gossip. "We have it on good authority, Ms. Vance, that you're about to be married. Is that true?" Claire froze for a fraction of a second. Her eyes instinctively flickered toward Caleb. It was almost imperceptible. A faint blush rose to her cheeks. She reached up and smoothed a strand of hair that was already perfectly in place. Smiling for the cameras, a look of pure happiness on her face, she said, "Yes, I'm getting married." The reporters, smelling blood, went into a frenzy, demanding to know who the groom was. Some had even caught her glance at Caleb. Claire just smiled mysteriously. "As for who my fiancé is," she said, "that's a secret. You'll all find out next month." Within moments, the news was trending all over Chicago's social media. The top speculation, naturally, was Caleb Hayes. This wasn't the first time rumors like this had surfaced. The untold story of Chicago's most beautiful CEO and her star executive. Back then, Claire would always reassure me. "The tabloids don't know anything, but you do, right? You're the only one I love. Caleb is your brother. We see each other every day at work. It's better they link me with him than some stranger I can't explain away." She said it so tenderly, and the love in her eyes seemed so real. I never gave a second thought. Looking back now, I was a goddamn fool. I want to slap myself to knock some sense back into my own head. Do you regret it? Can you live with this? You were the one behind all her achievements, and now your brother is about to take it all. You deserve this. It's what you get for trusting them. That voice in my head was back, drowning out all reason. It took a long time to fight back the impulse. I let out a cold laugh. Live with this? Not a chance. One was my fiancé, the other my half-brother. I gave them what little kindness and love I had left. And this is how they repay me, with nothing but pure malice. I was 18 when I found Claire lying on the side of the road after a hit and run, bleeding out. I saved her. I paid her medical bills. After that, we fell in love. It felt natural, inevitable. Everyone assumed we'd end up together. Fate had other plans. 2 weeks ago, I received a file that left me speechless. I worried it was a setup, someone trying to sabotage our relationship, to destroy what we'd built over the years. Numb, I drove to the Vance Innovations building. I had to ask her if any of it was true. I never even made it inside. From the parking garage, I heard familiar, intimate voices. My deepest fear became reality. My half-brother had his arm wrapped around Claire's waist. They were locked in a passionate kiss. So this was the wild side of my fiancée, the one who was always so shy and reserved with me. Claire, Caleb murmured, why don't we just be together? You love me. Don't marry my brother. Please. Claire smiled and gave him another kiss, then nuzzled against his chest playfully. Her eyes held a look of adoration I hadn't seen directed at me in a long, long time. Caleb, you know you're the one I love now, she said. But Julian and I have been together for so long, and the company can't survive without his support. What we have right now is good enough. Caleb cut her off with a possessive kiss, his eyes burning into hers. Go through with the wedding, he commanded. But when I'm CEO of Hayes Corp, you'll divorce him. Deal. I hate seeing you with my brother, he added, his voice dropping to a pained whisper. I'm afraid you'll change your mind. I love you. Only I truly love you. Claire seemed to revel in it. She beamed. Don't you trust me? It's you. It will always be you. Her words shattered the softest part of my soul. I knew then I would never believe in love again. All those years, every intimate moment. Was it all just for my backing? It was disgusting. Her confession was a razor blade, carving my heart into ribbons until there was no unscarred place left. I don't know how I drove away that day. All I remember is the image of them kissing burned into my vision, my stomach churning with nausea. The rage inside me threatened to consume what little reason I had left. I walked the streets all night like a ghost. My legs felt like lead, but I kept moving, a machine running on empty. I couldn't understand. We had been in love. Why would she betray me, only to go through with the wedding? It was all calculation. And my brother, who I'd never treated as anything less than family, why would he stab me in the back? Why did they have to trample on the last bit of goodness and love I had in me? They had no idea who they were dealing with. I stopped trying to understand. It didn't matter anymore. They made their choice. They made their bed. Now it was time for them to lie in it. Claire and I had known each other for almost 8 years. When I was 17, my father's plane went down. I wasn't even an adult, but I had to shoulder the weight of the entire family legacy. Caleb is my half-brother, but I always treated him like he was my own. There was no drama between our parents. My mother passed away from an illness, and my stepmother came into the picture years later. No sordid affair, no mistress taking the throne. Caleb was the only blood relative I had left, and he used to follow me around everywhere when we were kids. To protect him, I sent him to study abroad. I spent years battling the old guard at Hayes Corp, the vultures in my own family who were constantly scheming to get their hands on my shares, or worse. The car accidents and kidnapping attempts were relentless. Every escape was a close call. As a result, I trusted no one. I slept with one eye open. I had to. I was a kid sitting on a mountain of gold. Then, when I was 18, a moment of weakness led me to save Claire. It was her smile, the light in her eyes, that broke through my defenses. From that day on, she became part of my life. Her smile lit up the darkest corners of my heart. She would drive all over the city just to find the perfect gift for me. Back then, when she looked at me, her eyes were filled with nothing but tender love. I was a man encased in armor, and she was the only one I ever showed my vulnerabilities to. Until 6 months ago, Caleb came back from overseas, and things started to change so subtly I didn't even notice. Claire became distant, but she'd always pull me back in just enough to make me think our love was still real. She played me perfectly. Caleb would even joke about it. Looks like my wild stallion of a brother has finally been tamed. It was all an act, for my phone buzzed, shattering my thoughts. It was the custom ringtone Claire had set for herself. Her special signature, she'd called it. The screen lit up, then went dark, over and over. I didn't answer. Impatient, she sent a text. Company celebration dinner tonight. I'll be home a little late. Don't wait up for me. Love you, husband. I stared at the screen, my face blank. Waiting for her was pointless. She wasn't coming back to me. This had happened so many times before. I had just been too trusting to see it. With her work as a perfect alibi, her deception was seamless. I called my assistant back into the office. The performance-based buyout clause in our agreement with Vance Innovations is about to mature, isn't it? I asked, my voice cold. Execute it. To the letter. My assistant looked stunned. With Claire Vance's company, sir? Yes. Hayes Corp was the primary source of funding for Vance Innovations. I had funneled millions into her company to get it ready for the IPO, fighting off intense pressure from my own board of directors. To appease them, I'd insisted on a purely symbolic performance agreement. Only I knew there were a dozen ways I could have made sure that agreement never came to term. Claire knew it, too. It was why she was always so eager to please me. I used to handle all our joint ventures personally. But then Claire had come to me, her face a mask of concern. Julian, I don't want you to burn yourself out. You should try handing some of the workload to Caleb. Let him share the burden. I believed her. I was naive enough to think she genuinely cared about my well-being. And what was the perfect entry point for Caleb? The Vance Innovations account, of course. It gave them the perfect, legitimate reason to be together. I had, in effect, personally delivered my fiancée into my brother's bed. The wedding was just around the corner. It was time for me to prepare a few gifts of my own. It wasn't hard to find the location of the celebration dinner. A trendy new restaurant, close to her office, but a world away from mine. I walked in, dressed in a black suit, my hands in my pockets. Through the glass of a private dining room, I saw her immediately. She was wearing a sleek black dress, her legs wrapped in black stockings, swirling a glass of red wine. She was frowning, clearly bothered by something. Claire, have a drink, Caleb was saying. This is a celebration. Lighten up. She didn't answer him. Her eyes were glued to her phone. She hadn't received a single reply from me since her text that afternoon. The other executives at the table started to tease them. Still thinking about Mr. Hayes, Claire? I'm telling you, she should just marry Caleb. They'd be a true power couple. Claire didn't refute any of it. After all, what she'd done couldn't stay hidden forever. With a tight smile, she finally spoke. Don't be ridiculous. Then she added, with a chilling frankness, if Caleb and I actually got together, Julian would literally kill me. I pushed open the door to the room. My entrance silenced everyone. Am I really that terrifying? I asked. My voice was quiet, but the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Claire's smile was forced, her face stiff. Julian, what are you doing here? You should have told me you were coming. I gave her a playful, yet utterly insincere smile. I came to bring you a gift, of course. Your company going public is a celebration for both of us, isn't it? Caleb looked away, avoiding my eyes, clearly unsure of how much I knew. Bro, come have a drink with us, he said after a moment, taking a hesitant step toward me. He reached for my arm, but I sidestepped him. I'm allergic to alcohol, I said flatly. The remark left Caleb looking flustered. Claire's brow furrowed, ever so slightly. She was already jumping to defend her lover. Julian, when did you become allergic to alcohol? Why didn't I know that? She asked, her tone accusatory. Caleb was just trying to be friendly. You're brothers. Can't you just talk things out? I remembered similar scenes from the past, moments I had brushed off as insignificant. I had suspected it before that the old vultures on my family's board had gotten to Caleb, but I had no proof, so I buried the thought. It was clear now. Claire's heart was no longer mine. I had simply given her too much trust, blinding myself to the truth. But now, the pieces were all connected. It was time to send them on their way. The atmosphere in the room was painfully awkward. After a long silence, Caleb tried to break the tension, feigning nonchalance. Hey bro, you said you had a gift for Claire, right? Let's see it. Claire's gaze shifted to me. I beckoned to my assistant, who stepped forward with a beautifully wrapped, thin gift box. All eyes were on it instantly. I had given Claire many gifts over the years, each one extravagant and thoughtfully chosen. I had spared no expense or effort for her, beyond just my affection. Open it, I said. She looked at me, her smile gentle and completely fake. She carefully unwrapped the box. The moment she opened it, she froze. Inside was a single, crimson wedding invitation. Only her name was printed on it. What is this supposed to mean? She asked, her voice trembling. I chuckled. It's an invitation. You get to fill in the groom's name. It's your choice. The air in the room turned to ice. Everyone exchanged uneasy glances. Caleb looked at me with a strange expression, a mixture of envy and resentment. He seemed convinced this was just my heavy-handed way of forcing the marriage. "Come on, bro," he said with a nervous laugh. "I know you're crazy about Claire, but this is a bit much. The wedding is right around the corner. Nothing's going to change that." He was smiling, but the hatred in his eyes was unmistakable. He was still too young, too inept at hiding his true feelings. Claire bit her lip, the panic on her face fading. She put on a coy act. "Julian, you're not afraid I'm going to run away, are you? You and I are inseparable." I said nothing. Seeing my detached expression, she cleared her throat and softened her tone. "Julian, are you upset about what happened at the press conference?" At the mention of it, everyone else looked down at their plates. So, I was the only one who hadn't been in on the secret. "I was looking for you, but you weren't there," she explained. "Everyone knows about the relationship between Vance Innovations and Hayes Corp. They just got the wrong idea. You don't seriously think there's something going on between Caleb and me, do you? He's your brother." The same old lies. I used to believe them, let them play me for a fool. Sometimes I genuinely wonder who Claire even loves. But I trust what I see with my own eyes. This need to have it all to have both of us. It's pathetic. I didn't believe a word she said. This was just a little scare. "You want to play games? Fine. Let's see who plays them better." 6 I ignored Claire's face, which was now twisting with barely concealed anger. I walked to the table and handed the gift box back to my assistant. Then, adopting the same tone I used to manipulate the old guard at Hayes Corp, I spoke, my voice tinged with a hint of grievance. "Okay, I was a little jealous, I admitted. I'm supposed to be your fiancé, but everyone thinks my brother is the one marrying you. I guess I've been neglecting you. I'm sorry." As I finished, I looked at Claire with an expression that practically begged for a hug, a complete departure from my usual demeanor. She didn't seem to notice the strangeness of it. She just looked visibly relieved. "I was so worried you'd get the wrong idea," she said. "I tried calling you so many times to explain, but you didn't pick up. But we've been together for so long, nothing could shake us. I knew you wouldn't doubt me." The executives from her company all chimed in with forced laughter, sounding just as phony as Claire. "That's right, Mr. Hayes. Don't you worry." Caleb's expression was strained. As my eyes swept over to him, he managed a weak, unnatural smile. "Bro, you really scared us for a minute there. We thought you and Claire were actually fighting." I waved a dismissive hand, then pulled a set of car keys from my pocket and placed them on the table in front of Claire. "All right, don't be mad anymore," I said softly. "This is your real present." Instantly, the tension broke. Everyone looked at Claire with envy. "It's the one you wanted," I added. Claire stared at the keys for a few seconds, a complex emotion in her eyes that I couldn't be bothered to decipher. Not long ago, Caleb had been obsessing over this particular limited edition sports car. Claire had then started casually looking it up in front of me multiple times. I had assumed it was the car she wanted. This was before I saw the truth with my own eyes. I had imagined her reaction when I gave it to her, pictured her throwing her arms around me in excitement. A real shame. Some things are just not meant for you. "Thank you, Julian," she said. I smiled and ruffled her hair. "Don't be such a stranger." She started to lean in for a hug, but I subtly stepped back, pressing the keys into her hand instead. "Go try it out later." Claire took the keys, her smile sweet and genuine. It was clear she was thrilled with the gift. Caleb, however, was silent. The resentment in his eyes was palpable. He was obviously bitter that the car he coveted wasn't a gift from his lover. My dear brother, still so much to learn. I made an excuse and left. On the drive back, my assistant finally broke the silence. "Mr. Hayes, why are you doing this?" I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. "It's just a game," I said. "Let's see who's willing to play for keeps. Of course, it won't be me." With the wedding a week away, I buried myself in work. Claire, meanwhile, devoted all her energy to consoling Caleb. They were quite the loving couple. Anything Caleb wanted, from a new condo to the sports car, she gave him without a second thought. She even chauffeured him around in the car I bought her, seizing every opportunity to spend time with him. "Mr. Hayes, are you sure about this?" my assistant asked, his voice hesitant. "There might still be a chance to salvage things. If you just let her go like this." I paused my typing for a moment, then resumed. After a long silence, I closed my laptop, a cynical smile on my face. Do they really think my position is so easily taken? I said, the Hayes family is one of the oldest and most powerful in Chicago. We didn't get here by begging for scraps. We got here because we are strong enough and ruthless enough to take what's ours. I was 17 when I took over this company. I fought my way through hell to get here. I have plenty of ways to handle this. I was just holding back out of some misplaced sentiment for our shared blood. My assistant fell silent. He's been with me for years. He knew every word was true, and he knew my mind was made up. I looked at the photos he had just sent to my phone. Claire was looking at Caleb, her eyes filled with love. I don't tolerate betrayal, I said, my voice low and hard. Especially not from the person sleeping in my bed or the brother I raised. If they want to drag me back down to hell, then they can burn there with me. The next day, I had just finished dealing with a pile of documents in my office when I looked up. Claire was curled up on the sofa, fast asleep and looking exhausted. My assistant had already sent me her itinerary. She had driven all night to get back from out of town. Just as I finished my work, she woke up. Are you done? She asked, her eyes heavy with fatigue. Yes, a night of passionate lovemaking followed by a long drive would certainly be tiring. I have another meeting soon. Was there something urgent? I handed her a cup of coffee, my tone neutral. Claire looked a little hurt. Did you forget? We were supposed to go see the wedding venue today. You promised. I blinked. I had completely forgotten. I was surprised she remembered. Impressive. I'm sorry, I've been swamped. I forgot. I frowned, feigning a dilemma. This next meeting is critical. How about I have Caleb go with you instead? She studied my face, her gaze probing. My recent shift in attitude had clearly unsettled her. Her expression was complicated. Julian, she said slowly, you seem different. I offered a slight smile. Do I? Must be the workload. Things at the office have been crazy. My explanation seemed to ease her suspicion, but she wasn't entirely convinced. Is it just work? I raised an eyebrow and chuckled, the sound thick with unspoken meaning. Of course. What else would it be? Do you think one of us is cheating or something? I stared directly at her, letting the word cheating hang in the air, light and venomous. To her, it landed with the force of a landslide. She looked away, flustered. Before she could figure out how to respond, her phone rang. A quick glance at the screen. It was Caleb. That's Caleb. You should go, I said dismissively. I'll leave today's arrangements to you and him. I turned back to the files on my desk, refusing to look at her again. She watched me for a long moment before finally speaking. It's probably about work. I just nodded. She must have thought I was upset about her being gone for a few days, because she added an explanation. There was a contract I had to negotiate out of town. I saw how busy you were, so I asked Caleb to come with me. I forgot to tell you. I cut her off, smiling pleasantly. It's fine. I know there's nothing going on between you and Caleb. At my words, a rare flicker of guilt crossed her face. After a long pause, she spoke softly. Julian, I'll be good to you. For the rest of my life, I'll be good to you. I smiled and said nothing. As the office door clicked shut, my smile turned to ice. Be good to me? I no longer require it. That night, photos of Caleb and Claire at the wedding venue went viral. Caleb was in a sharp suit, looking every bit the groom. Claire was beaming, and Caleb's hand rested lightly on her slender waist. I glanced at the pictures and closed the browser. The story must have become a trending topic, because Claire called me in a panic. Julian, I was just so nervous about the wedding day, she explained breathlessly. I was afraid something would go wrong, so I asked Caleb to walk through the ceremony with me. I offered a few words of calm reassurance. If she could have seen the look on my face, she wouldn't have believed me so easily. I was the one who paid for the story to go viral. This was all just laying the groundwork. They were just bold enough to hand me the ammunition themselves. Soon, more pictures surfaced, including shots of them picking up the wedding rings from the jeweler together. The comments were all about what a perfect, beautiful couple they made. It cost me a great deal of time and money. Claire did a complete 180 over the next few days. She neglected her own company to orbit around me, just like when we first started dating, showering me with gentle affection. Sometimes she would even wait for me outside my office building after work. Her behavior was almost comical. Today, I had just wrapped up a major negotiation. As I walked out of the hotel, her car was parked at the curb. I looked at her, puzzled by the gesture. Julian, I came to take you home, she said with a bright smile, linking her arm through mine. I froze for a second. Come to think of it, since Caleb had returned, we had rarely, if ever, gone home together. I truly had loved this woman. But now, I ignored the open passenger door and got into the back seat. I don't like sitting in the front, I said. My cool tone made her stiffen for a moment, but she quickly recovered. Of course, wherever you want to sit, Julian. As the car moved smoothly through the city, I closed my eyes to rest. Suddenly, Claire began to probe. Julian, the tabloids are so awful these days. They're completely misunderstanding my relationship with Caleb. Did you see those articles? I saw them. I just feel like this could affect us, with the wedding so close. She said it with a tone that was a mix of petulance and complaint. I opened my eyes slightly. In the rearview mirror, I could see her brow was furrowed. Don't worry about that nonsense. I know the truth. My response clearly didn't satisfy her. It's not that I'm worried. I just feel like something isn't right. I sat up straight and asked, feigning confusion, what isn't right? She suddenly pulled the car over and turned around to meet my gaze. The wedding is just days away, Julian. Everything is going to be okay, right? Looking into those wide eyes, filled with a mixture of confusion and anxiety, I offered a few perfunctory words. Of course it is. I need you to confirm all the final details for me. I added, I'm going to be swamped for the next few days. She frowned and didn't answer. The atmosphere in the car grew thick with tension. My emotions were perfectly calm, as if I were negotiating with the old vultures on my board. I ignored the pleading look she gave me. In the final 3 days, Claire threw all her energy into the wedding preparations, which I had now fully delegated to her. This time, she didn't involve Caleb. She handled every detail herself, constantly sending me updates. She still remembered all my preferences. I had to give her that. But I ignored every message. Seeing himself sidelined, Caleb grew restless. Under the guise of wanting to help, he started showing up at the wedding venue every day. I heard that Claire shot down every single one of his suggestions. She even sent me a rare, heartfelt message. Julian, this is our wedding. I want everything to be just the way you like it. I smirked. Nothing about this was what I liked anymore. What I like, I'll be delivering to you both on the wedding day. People are so predictable. When you love them, they dismiss and neglect you. Only when you let go do they start to realize your importance. Perhaps that's the essence of playing the long game. Claire got drunk. Ever since I discovered her affair with Caleb, I had moved into my downtown penthouse. The excuse was work. Claire would visit occasionally, but never stayed the night. Besides her tryst with Caleb, I always found a reason to send her away. I despised traitors. So, when she showed up at my door, stumbling and drunk, I was genuinely surprised. The moment I opened the door, she fell into my arms, clinging to me like a drowning person to a piece of driftwood. Julian, love me, she slurred. I've been on edge for days. I'm so scared something will go wrong with the wedding. So scared you'll leave me. Her voice was raw and hoarse. I helped her to the sofa. You're drunk. I was about to get her a glass of water, but she gripped my sleeve and wouldn't let go. I'm not drunk, she insisted. Julian, I've spent the last few days thinking about our entire relationship, every moment. And I know for sure that I love you. You have to love me back, just like you used to. Her eyes were filled with tears, her voice trembled, and her grip on my sleeve tightened. I gently soothed her, my face fixed in that same practiced professional smile. I had seen how conflicted she'd been lately, but I knew the truth. She didn't love me anymore. She was just unsettled by the fact that the man who used to give her everything had suddenly stopped. The disruption to her routine was what scared her, not the loss of my love. Claire, I told you once that as long as you never betrayed me, I would love you forever. We've known each other for almost 8 years. Everyone is afraid of me. They say I'm a monster who clawed his way out of hell, that I'm ruthless. But you were the only person I ever showed my kindness to. I willingly opened up the most vulnerable parts of myself to you. I gave you all the goodness and love I had. My love for you was a deliberate choice. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. Hearing this, a flicker of panic crossed her eyes. To hide it, she buried her face in my chest, avoiding my gaze. Julian, of course we'll love each other forever. We'll spend our whole lives together. Don't ever say things like that again. It makes me think you're going to leave me. Gently stroking her hair, I murmured the question that was in my heart. Maybe I wasn't asking her. Maybe I was asking myself, do you really love me? Of course, she said, her voice urgent. She even found the courage to lift her head and meet my eyes. I only love you. The look in her eyes might have been real, or it might have been a lie, but the words from her mouth were definitely a lie. I gently caressed her face, still so beautiful and captivating. I believe you. After all, after so much rehearsal, the real show hasn't even started yet. Just wait. It's going to be spectacular. The day before the wedding, Claire sent me a flood of messages reminiscing about our past. They were quite sentimental. The last one read, "Tomorrow, I'm going to be your wife. It will be the happiest moment of my life. 7 years of love, 5 years of living together." We were, for all intents and purposes, a married couple, just without the official certificate. I had just put my phone down when my assistant came in. Mr. Hayes, the younger Mr. Hayes, is meeting with Ms. Vance. At the new house. I nodded and pulled up the security feed from the villa. On the screen, Claire passionately pressed her lips to Caleb's. They kissed with a feverish intensity, whispering the same tired lines. "Caleb, make love to me. After tomorrow, we probably won't have many chances to see each other. You have to take over Hayes Corp as fast as you can. Remember you promised to marry me." Caleb didn't speak. He answered her with his actions. After a long while, his eyes were red as he looked at her. "Claire, he just saved you. He just met you before I did. Why do you have to marry him? I know he gave you a lot. He helped your company go public. But I can give you all of that, too. Everything my brother has will be mine one day. I need you to promise you'll never leave me." Watching the video, I frowned. After discovering their affair, I had my assistant dig into their relationship to find out everything. But he'd hit a wall. All we knew was that they got together shortly after Caleb returned, but the reason was a mystery. Now I understood. At least part of it. It was jealousy. Caleb was jealous that I controlled Hayes Corp, jealous of my position. Claire was just collateral damage, a pawn in his game of envy. If it was mine, he wanted it. My fists clenched. At that moment, none of the questions mattered anymore. Maybe Claire and I were never meant to be. I don't regret loving her, but I know when to let go. Now, everything I gave you, I'm taking back. And you, my dear brother, your tactics are far cruder than those of the old family vultures, but somehow so much more disgusting. I'm a monster from hell. If you want what's mine, you'll have to come down here to get it. The wedding day arrived as scheduled. Early that morning, I sat in my office, waiting for the main event. My assistant looked at me, his face etched with worry. "Mr. Hayes, what you're doing today, it could put you in a very vulnerable position." I smiled, glancing at the live stream of the wedding on my monitor before looking up at him. "It won't. The old guard on the board only cares about profit. And today, Hayes Corp is going to profit immensely. They'll keep their mouths shut." On the screen, Claire stood at the end of the aisle in a brilliant white gown, holding her bouquet, a radiant smile on her face. A video montage was playing, telling the story of our 7 years together, from how we met and fell in love to this moment at the altar. I truly did want to marry her once, to spend my life with her. But now all I felt was a grim satisfaction and a deep, cutting scorn. Satisfaction that I found out in time, and scorn for the true love I had so foolishly given away. And now, let's give a warm welcome to our groom. The MC's words silenced the venue, which quickly dissolved into confused whispers. The spot where the groom was supposed to be standing was empty. The MC, looking awkward, tried to rally the crowd. "It seems our groom is a little shy. Come on, let's welcome him with a huge round of applause." Still, no one appeared. The whispers grew louder. Claire's face was a mask of panic as she frantically searched the venue for me. But she wasn't given much time. The large screen behind her flickered to life again, this time with a different video. It was a montage of Claire and Caleb kissing passionately in at least a dozen different locations. Their voices echoed through the silent hall. "Claire, I love you. Please don't marry my brother." "Sure, baby. As soon as I'm CEO of Hayes Corp, I'll marry you. You just have to wait for me. Caleb, I will only ever love you." The color drained from Claire's face. She collapsed to the floor. In a corner, a spotlight suddenly found Caleb, trapping him in its glare. The wedding was supposed to have been a relatively small affair. I never liked big spectacles. But to give them the audience they deserved, I had paid a premium to have it live-streamed. It's Julian. It was Julian. Shut it off. Shut it off now. Caleb was screaming, completely unhinged. Before they could even process the shock, Claire's assistant ran into the hall, her face pale with terror. Claire, the performance clause. The buyout clause was activated. Your shares. They're all gone. What are we going to do? In that instant, a seismic shockwave ripped through Chicago's elite society. The city's golden girl, the brilliant CEO, exposed for cheating with her fiancé's brother, publicly humiliated at her own wedding, and stripped of her entire fortune in one fell swoop. She was dragged for a pedestal and thrown into the gutter. Within an hour, Vance Innovations had a new majority shareholder. A slow smile spread across my lips. For the first time in a long time, it was a happy one. The first act was over, but the show was far from finished. Soon, only Claire and Caleb remained in the vast, empty hall. My family's security had politely escorted the other guests out. Claire was no longer the poised, elegant woman she had been. She looked like a stray dog, lost and broken, sitting on the stage in her wedding dress, still clutching the rings. She hadn't recovered from the shock, her vacant eyes fixed on the looping video. Each frame was another knife twisting in her heart. She had thought she was so clever that her secret was safe. She never imagined that some walls are made of glass. I knew everything. I knew she had fallen for my brother while still claiming to love me, that she was stealing moments with him behind my back. I knew their whole plan, and I chose the most painful way possible to expose it all. No, how did it come to this? She sobbed. It wasn't Caleb I loved. It wasn't him. You knew all along, she whispered to the empty room. My feeling was right. You were really going to leave me. But I do love you. I wanted to be your wife. Her weeping was agonizing. In that moment, she probably remembered everything. The single invitation at the dinner party, which I had brushed off as a joke. The wedding venue I hadn't visited once, leaving all the decisions to her. Even the rings, which I had never so much as touched. The signs were all there. She had just chosen to ignore them. Claire sat on the floor, consumed by her tears. Regret is a useless emotion. It can't solve anything, but it can drag a person straight to hell. Caleb, his eyes wild with fury, ran to her side. Claire, we can't just sit here. We're finished if we don't do something, he yelled. You still have Vance Innovations. We have to go after my brother. He knew. He set us up. Claire violently shoved his hand away. Go after him. We were the ones having the affair. What right do I have to confront him? Vance Innovations is gone, she shrieked. I have nothing left. She looked at Caleb, her face a mask of misery. It was always Julian I loved, the boy who saved my life. If you hadn't seduced me, if you hadn't drugged me, how could I have? Slap. The sharp crack of a hand across her face cut her off. Caleb's eyes were bloodshot. Don't you dare play the victim now, Claire, he snarled. You could have gone to the police after that first time. My brother would have forgiven you, but you didn't, did you? After that, you were the one who wanted it, every single time. You're nothing but a slut. Faced with his rage, Claire fell silent. She had no defense. Caleb grabbed her by the throat, his voice a vicious growl. You regret it now, Claire. Too late. You know my brother better than anyone. He's a demon. He's not going to let us get away with this. I stood by the window of my office and watched as Claire got into the sports car I had given her. She was trying to get away, with Caleb in the passenger seat. I watched as the car sped down the street. Just as it was about to disappear from view, it erupted in a ball of fire. The official police report cited a catastrophic failure due to improper brake maintenance. Claire died instantly. Caleb, by some miracle, survived. He would, however, be spending the rest of his life in a wheelchair. Send my brother to our new office in Africa. I instructed my assistant. He'll be in charge of the branch there. My assistant hesitated. Mr. Hayes, the board wants to know when the younger Mr. Hayes will be permitted to return. I lit a cigarette, the smoke curling around my face. He can come back when the African branch is listed on the NASDAQ, I said coldly. Claire, 7 years ago you pulled me out of hell, and now you've chosen to throw me back in. So be it. 7 years ago, I saved your life. Tonight you can give it back. As for you, my dear brother, I protected you too well for too long. Let's see how you fare when you have to learn about survival from the predators in the wild.